winners will go to the Mayhem match. We will then have a battle royal to crown the final participant and obviously the WCW champion Sting. James Mitchell and Abyss interrupt, and Mitchell demands that what Abyss did last week earns him the WCW title shot that he so rightfully deserves, and that he should be placed in that Mayhem 6-person matchup. Bischoff agrees that the moment was impactful, but that doesn't just give you a handout to the WCW championship. You got to earn it. As Mitchell says, "Okay, you caused this, Bischoff, not me." And him and Abyss are cut off by Lance Storm, who says, "Abyss, Mitchell, what you did to Flair, one of my idols, childhood idols, guy I respected, and what you guys did to him is unexcusable. I want Abyss tonight." And Bischoff says, "You're on. Storm versus Abyss will be happening tonight." 58 rating there. So Abyss is officially on the main roster after weeks and weeks and weeks of kind of putting it off. He's facing Lance Storm, and that's kind of his first little mini feud, it looks like, here after taking out Ric Flair. We'll see kind of what happens, see what happens. And in our first bout of the evening, which unfortunately got us to 38. Okay, a decent match. Christopher Daniels defeated Shane Helms in 8:21 with using the ropes for leverage. Helms at 56, Daniels at 47. Daniels got injured. Let's see what got an issue here. Oh, the injury. Okay. It's weird, though. Okay. Well, not exactly how I wanted that to go, but it is what it is. What? We had a Christopher Daniels promo, but we cut that due to his injury. The Road Warriors are backstage. They talk about how they're excited to finally have an opportunity at WCW Tag Team Championships against PinPoint, and they are ready for their matchup to reclaim the top of the mountain of tag team wrestling. 58 rating there. And in a decent matchup, PinPoint defeats the Road Warriors in 9:46 when Mark Jindrak pins Road Warrior Hawk with a mark of excellence. Makes defense number 3 of the WCW Tag Team Championships. Hawk and Animal 51-53 respectively. AJ and Jindrak 64 and 62. Hawk was off his game, great chemistry, got the crowd hotter, 60 rating. I'm cool with that. This is a great situation. PinPoint shows that they're the top dogs now. Even though they're both only like 22, 23, like they're right there, and we're starting to develop some stars there. Down the road eventually when they go on their own, but this is really nice right now. And Road Warriors did their job as a top tag team in the world, had a great TV match. Post-match, the two teams shake hands after a hard-fought matchup, 55 rating there. And post-match, Shane Douglas and Bam Bam Bigelow hit the ring and attack all 4 men, leaving all 4 men laying as Shane Douglas and Bam Bam Bigelow are back and they hold up the WCW Tag Team Championships. 54 rating there. So Douglas and Bam Bam are back. Obviously, we haven't seen them since Halloween Havoc. Right? Yeah. I haven't seen Douglas since Halloween Havoc. I haven't seen Bam Bam since the week before, since they were feuding with Goldberg. And now they are in the heat now with the tag team division. So that's where they're going to be now. We got a backstage promo from Double J talking about how he's facing Rick Steiner and that him and Steiner are no secret to each other, and that tonight Double J is going to prove why he's the chosen one of WCW, as he is going to advance to that 6-person Mayhem match and become the WCW World Champion at Mayhem. 70 rating there. And in a Mayhem qualifying matchup and about to have good heat and decent wrestling, Jeff Jarrett defeats Rick Steiner at 9:53 with the stroke. Double J at 68, Rick Steiner at 54, 64 rating on the board. Good stuff out of both guys. Rick Steiner's back as a singles wrestler, babyface. Put in a good spot here. Does get the loss, but booked in a way that he doesn't look bad. And Double J gets the win because he's the right guy to put in the 6-person Mayhem match. So we're very happy about that. Moving on to the next segment. And graphic shows Jeff Jarrett is the first entrant into the Mayhem 6-way besides the world champion Sting. Backstage in Eric Bischoff's office, he's talking to Sting about Mayhem and about how he has the hardest challenge he's going to have to face as big, sexy Kevin Nash walks back into the office, says that his injury is healed, he's ready to get back in the ring, and is excited to have the opportunity to be in the Mayhem match next week. Him and Sting kind of, share glances at each other because they're not enemies, but they're not friends. And Bischoff says, Nash, I feel kind of guilty putting you in a qualifying match in your first match back. So tonight, how about you and Sting face off against those Southern boys in a tag team match so you can get your feet wet before that qualifying match. And Sting and Nash shake hands and tag team match is made. 69 rating there. So Nash is back in the fold. We haven't seen Kevin Nash since about July. He, unfortunately, I forget the exact injury, but it was like shoulder or something at a house show, and he's been out since. So good to have Big Sexy back in the fold. And in a poor matchup, Ray Gonzalez, who remember did join the Militia last week, defeats Scott Taylor, who debuted last week, in 7-1 with a Phoenix Landing. Both men with a 49-47 rating. This is simply to get Ray Gonzalez a victory. He had Little Guido and Super Crazy at ringside. He will be getting a small little push here. Scott Taylor did a great job as the babyface. And, it's weird because part of me wants to have Little Guido wrestle every week. But part of me also loves him being kind of like similar to like how the Kingpin is in Marvel, where he can be a big component, but he also is a great mouthpiece. And I think eventually him and Gonzalez will be doing something together. But Guido doesn't need to wrestle every week, and I'm going to try to make it so he doesn't, as well as Ray Gonzalez is going to kind of be that guy to get a little bit rub out of it. So 47 rating there. Sean O'Hare. So post-match, Guido, Super Crazy, and Gonzalez are beating down Too Cool Scott Taylor as Sean O'Hare makes the save and gets the heels to escape the ring. As Scott Taylor appreciates the save from Sean O'Hare. This is simply so Sean O'Hare right now is a rough spot. I'll be honest. I made the big mistake of turning him and Palumbo on each other way too early, and now O'Hare's just kind of a guy without a chair, if that makes sense. So we're trying to find some feuds for him, trying to just build him up a little bit and see what we can do with him. His in-ring work has not been great, so that also is hurting his chances. Again, 55 rating on the board, good stuff out of the Militia. We get two graphics. We get a graphic for the Goldberg versus Chavo qualifier next week that Bischoff talked about. In a singles match, decent match, Rhino defeats Tommy Dreamer in 7:29 with a gore. Rhino a 61, Dreamer a 50, 60 rating out of the boys. Good stuff here. Rhino needed some victories. We're trying to do something with Rhino. I got something planned. So we're going to let him have some opportunity here. Dreamer, tough spot, brother. Mid-Carter, babyface, just taking the L here. Hopefully we can find something for Dreamer down the road. Backstage, we got Abyss beating down Lance Storm before the match, hits him with a chair, grabs him by the throat and chokeslams him through a table backstage. Obviously, this match is not happening now, which is okay, because that's exactly how I wanted to play this. Abyss looks like a star already, and Lance Storm gets nothing really bad out of this, doesn't take a loss, and his performance was good. 47 rating, that's a little disappointing, but that's okay. Abyss gets kind of still some heat on Storm, and Storm doesn't take a loss, like I said. So that's big there. I think that's a big win there. Plus gives me an opportunity to kind of write off Storm for a couple weeks. And about that, had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Chris Kanyon defeats Maven in 5:36 with a flatliner. Chris Kanyon at 63, Maven at 29, 58 rating out of Kanyon. Simply to get Kanyon another win against another jobber. I don't like having Kanyon beat guys that are on the roster right now, just because I don't want him to run out of guys eventually. But we're going to start really building up that U.S. title going forward here, so see how that goes. 58 rating here, good stuff. Post-match, Kanyon is upset that he feels that he's been screwed over by not being in the Mayhem 6-man qualifying matches, but he will be entering the 30-man over the top rope battle royal, as he is going to be the man that goes from U.S. champion to WCW champion within one pay-per-view. So, Kanyon gets interrupted though by Rob Van Dam and says, instead of whining, how about you defend that belt against Mr. Monday Night next week? But then Rob Van Dam gets interrupted by Mike Awesome, who demands he deserves another shot after Chris Kanyon screwed him over last time by holding onto the ropes and cheating to win. And then Rhino says that he deserves a shot because, unlike Awesome, he hasn't lost yet against Chris Kanyon, and he deserves a shot. So Chris Kanyon says, you know what, let's do this. Next week, you three face off. Winner will finally get a shot at me at Mayhem. 63 rating there. Starting to get that U.S. title built up a little bit. I've been kind of stagnant with it. Awesome and Kanyon have had some good stuff, don't get me wrong, but now we're starting to really kind of put some new guys in there. And in a tag team match, in a decent match, Kevin Nash and Sting defeated those Southern Boys in 7:41 when Nash pins Cash with a jackknife powerbomb. Sting is 77, Nash is 66, Noble at 54, Kid Cash at 49, 67 rating. Good stuff out of everybody here. And in our main event of the evening, a superb match, Booker T defeats Rey Mysterio in 12:44 by pinfall with a scissors kick in the Mayhem qualifying match. Booker T is 74, Rey Mysterio at 81, 76 rating. Great main event here. Booker T advances to the Mayhem 6-person matchup. So if you're keeping score at home, we now have Sting facing off with Booker, facing off with Jarrett. Next week, we got 2 more qualifiers, Chavo versus Goldberg, Buff Bagwell versus Kevin Nash. And then the Battle Royal as well. We have a 3-person match, the number 1 contender for the WCW United States Championship. We're going to have Van Dam versus Mike Awesome versus Rhino. So if you're enjoying this series, please drop a like. Subscribe if you really want to keep this going. I'm obviously going to try to get this as far along as I can. We're almost at the end of the year. Our first Starrcade heading into 2002 is coming our way. Stay tuned for the Go Home show for Mayhem next week. Let's see what our show rating was, though. Let's see. 72. Love to see it. So like I said, we'll see you next time for that Go Home show for Monday Night Nitro. Until then, we'll see you next time.